We return once again to Life is Strange Ex Machina. In this episode, we didn't really get the team up I was hoping for, but moving forward, Diva and Kakitani's relationship should be different at the very least. He did save her from being choked out, if that's even possible for AI. Oh, and I was right that Kakitani knew that Diva was Vivy, but that still doesn't explain why he didn't confront her about it until now. What did he think? Like, he messed with my plans on 2 separate occasions, but I'm just gonna chalk that up to coincidence. There's no way she would mess with my plans a 3rd time, even though the 2nd time she literally went into space to stop my plans. Well, we'll see how that turns out. One thing Kakitani makes clear though is that there is something suspicious going on with Dr. Seiki, who conveniently arrives at the metal float with Grace. So Diva and Matsumoto go off to question him, and everything is revealed when they finally catch up to him. The Grace that is with the doctor is actually an empty shell. The real Grace is at the center of the metal float. She is the brain of the whole facility. And Seiki's aim isn't just to shut down the facility, but he also wants to transfer Grace's consciousness from the core into the empty gray shell that's with him. But unfortunately, despite being a cube, Matsumoto is still the bearer of bad news. He says it's impossible to transfer Grace back into that body with what they've turned her into. So Diva resolves herself to destroy Grace. Seiki tries to stop her using the gray shell, but she one-shots it and breaks its neck. Matsumoto then hacks the facility, creating multiple versions of himself, and once again, why does he need help? He's like a more efficient version of Aiden Pierce from Watch Dogs. The bodies form together to create a hover bike. Diva gets on and rides off in one of the best animated scenes in the entire show. I usually don't like mixing 2D and 3D elements, but this time I gotta admit it was done right. After bypassing their defenses, Diva arrived at the core and is given Grace's exact location by Dr. Seiki, who has resigned himself to the reality of the situation. She finds her and ends her by punching a hole through her chest. Grace seemed happy that it was over. Happy? Isn't that the question though? I mentioned this last review, but we got better examples now. AI feelings. At what point were they implemented? Because it seems obvious to me now that they have them. You could make the argument that what Diva has been experiencing isn't emotion at all, but calculations on how to best execute her mission that looks like emotion due to her human-like face. But I would counter that argument by saying that not only has she been experiencing emotion, but also developing attachments. Grace said that she accepted Seiki's marriage proposal because of her mission, but she chose Seiki specifically because she formed an attachment to him, a bond. It was the same for Diva and Estella and even Elizabeth. Speaking of Elizabeth, her case is especially interesting because it shows how flimsy the missions they're given are. Because these AIs are given one very general, very vague mission that can be interpreted in 100 different ways. Elizabeth's mission was basically to serve humans until they threw her into a robot hell, which is especially messed up since they have emotions. Then Kakitani found her and she served him, the terrorist, as he is a human. Then she betrays Kakitani in order to save him because she developed a bond with him. Point is, Diva's mind might have been blown by the idea of an AI getting a new mission, but AIs have been skirting around their missions for a while now because they have emotions. Also, having your mind blown is an emotional response. In the end, the show pulls a Time Lord victorious with Seiki shooting himself.
I'm the winner. That's who I am. The Time Lord victorious.
I'm interested in seeing how Vivy handles all these losses and the emotional ending the story is building towards.